He is on our international board. I think he said something along the line in Spanish, but about Jaime being on the international board.
Yes, yes, you mentioned.
You mentioned
It's
it.
true.
And but he does a terrific job. Whenever we need him, he's always there. And really, we do appreciate all of the work that both of you do, and really appreciate the warmth and hospitality in opening up your beautiful home. I know that I heard a little bit from Jaime in the past where you live, but now that I've seen it, it's really beautiful. Might be worthwhile coming to Mexico City. Anyhow, I've been here for 3-4 days, and the warmth that I've found among the Jewish community has been really terrific. Extremely strong Jewish community, very committed to the state of Israel, and at the end of the day, we should always remember that it's a two-way street between Israel and the diaspora. It's not just that Israel needs the diaspora needs Israel, and it works both ways. And in many instances, when you look today at the BDS movement that's growing its roots all over the world, and I understand perhaps a little bit less here, but it certainly will be coming here too, then you realize the importance of the community here and all over to assist and help us in ensuring that we defeat a movement today that is definitely anti-Semitic. And you might say, Izzy, how can you say it's anti-Semitic? There's nothing wrong with now and then criticizing Israel like we criticize every other country. I live in America today, and no, they're not going to criticize America as well. But it's anti-Semitic because if you look today at the world, you've got 200 conflicts. In Syria, you've got over 400,000 people that have been killed and butchered. You've got children that have been killed there, and there are various statistics, but it goes up to about 50,000 people. Have you ever seen any resolution to the United Nations? I think there's been one in the whole 5 years of the conflict. Yet every year you've got 20 resolutions about Israel. So you look around and you keep on going and you say, tell me, is Tibet a free country? Of course not. The Chinese are ruling it with an iron hand. Is there any civil liberties in China? There's none. Did the Turks occupy Cyprus and push out all of their Greek inhabitants to one side of the island? Did you ever see a resolution on that? Notice you can go on and on and on and on. When you have an organization, a BDS group, that their only interest is the state of Israel, the only Jewish state that we've got, that is anti-Semitism, clear and loud. So first of all, we shouldn't forget, you're dealing with an anti-Semitic movement. Has it had any effect on the Israeli economy? Very little. Yes, you hear in the paper, you read now and then, there's various companies, that are being affected here and there, some demonstrations here, etc. And there are some examples. I don't want to bore you all and get into all of that, but there was recently an article by Bloomberg who stated quite clearly that Israel today, in 2015, had its foreign investment at 285 billion, triple the amount when the BDS movement started in 2005. So in other words, if you look at the whole situation, what you're saying, the effect is very small. The danger today is not the economic effect. Yes, we've got to be watchful. We have to buy Israeli goods. I was about a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, in Berlin. I went in there to check that there was no labeling on the Israeli wines. I bought a couple of bottles of wines and gave it to some friends there. And I told them every Friday, go and buy Israeli wines on Friday afternoon, because the department store will say, oh, this is good business, let's keep on buying. So there's no doubt that we can help. But I'm saying economically, they're not making major inroads. If you look today at the United States, 8 to 9 states have already passed resolution against the BDS activists or the BDS activities. And as a matter of fact, the G4S. I always mix it up, I don't know why. G4S, which is a company that does security work all over the world, including the United States. They actually do secure the nuclear facilities of the United States. They were going to pull out of Israel. Until the governor of Illinois, who had passed one of the laws, wrote to them that, remember, you won't be able to do any business with us. So at the end of the day, I think that quietly we can do a lot on the economic front. What's important, by the way, is that it is the Jewish community everywhere that is in effect assisting and helping us in ensuring that we can overcome the kind of attacks that we've got. Israel Bonds had a similar thing about 4 years ago. They approached one of the states there and told them that they had to divest. The Jewish community got together with the state and defeated that resolution. So I repeat again, the BDS as a danger to the Israeli economy is, in my opinion, small. It's there, but we don't have to get too concerned about it. Where we have to be careful is the way that they are trying to affect the hearts and minds of our kids and grandkids. And I think that's an even bigger danger, because at the end of the day, they are changing the narrative. And I give you, that's fine, that's a little bit of music never hurts. And I give you one little example, because as I said, you want to enjoy all of the food that Dvorah has organized around here. Call it Dvorah, the Hebrew word, the Hebrew name. But I'll give you one example, and there's plenty of them, by the way. We just have to make sure that our kids and grandkids have the facts, and when they get to universities, they know how to answer it. So some of you have heard it, but I repeat it because sometimes I do believe that if you keep on repeating, like they do, they, by the way, will tell you, we are for a two-state solution, if you look up at their site of the BDS. And yet, in every demonstration that I've seen them, what they say is this: Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. Now, if anyone knows the geography of Israel, the river is the Jordan River, the sea is the Mediterranean. There's no room for a Jewish state when you say that day in and day out. So from the river to the sea, just remember that. If you look today at one example, there was a high commissioner in Palestine, and as I always remind people, Palestine is not a Palestinian name. It is the Romans who called it Palestina, if I'm not mistaken, something along those lines. He wrote to the Foreign Office in London, and he said, the country is desolate, barren, there's nothing there. The only thing that's missing is a body of population. So to call us colonialists and Zionists that kicked out the poor Palestinians is a misrepresentation from beginning to end. Now, as I said again, should we give them a state? Of course, I'm for a two-state solution. But I want to make sure that first and foremost, they recognize my right to live in a Jewish state. When they recognize my right to live in a Jewish state, they will ensure that what's in the Quran is regarded as a state, as a fact that infidels cannot live there. They will once and for all realize that, no, we have finished the conflict, we're going to be there, you're going to be next to us, and hopefully we will be able to live in brotherly love thereafter. So I think what's very important for any community outside of Israel today, in order to assist us in this particular battle, is to know the facts, help to ensure that your young people, your kids that are going to go to universities, understand the facts, know the facts, go to Israel, visit Israel, have a look at Israel, have a look at the vibrant democracy that you've got there. Let's be realistic. You go to the Knesset, you've got 12 Arab members. And I welcome that, and I think it's correct. But I can tell you one thing. In most democracies, those Arab members, the way they sometimes talk about the state of Israel, they wouldn't remain one day in any other parliament. But we tolerate it because we are a democracy. The only place today in Europe, they're banning burqas and burkinis. The only place where you can wear it is in what they call the apartheid state, the Israeli apartheid state. The only democracy where you can wear a burqa and a burkini is in Israel. You're welcome to come there and have a look and see. No problem whatsoever. So at the end of the day, we have to teach our young people, our young adults that are going to go to universities, that we have the right on our side, and no doubt if we do that, we're going to successfully ensure that even the next generation is going to be loving Israel, ensuring that Israel is the right place to be at, supporting it, even when you strengthen your community here, and you need to strengthen and stay here as well, that's not less important. I think that we're going to end up saying to ourselves that we've definitely reached the golden age of the Jewish people. Yes, we've got problems, but remember one thing, we've got an independent Jewish state. My rabbi in New York always says to me, in 1945, I was fed by the Americans and the British forces, but I didn't know where to go. I had nowhere to go. Today, we know where we can go. We know that we've got the support of the Jewish state. So I want to thank you again. Thanks very much for all the support that you do, what you've already done. David has already told me that this was one of the best communities that we had per capita. You've done a tremendous job. Thanks very much for what you've done, and continue with the work and ensure a strong Israeli economy, because a strong Israeli economy is a strong Jewish state. Thank you very much.
Thank you. El ingeniero Isaac Becker se disculpa que llegó tarde porque había mucho tráfico. ¿En qué piso vive? Siempre es aquí abajo.
Bueno, luego te explico.
Ok. Toda Rabá, Izzy, toda Rabá a todos ustedes. Nosotros el 12 de febrero tenemos la cena anual en Miami, en el Fontainebleau, donde están todos invitados. Antes lo hacíamos en Boca Ratón, seguramente va a haber un ministro. Vamos a honorificar a gente de distintas comunidades, están todos invitados. Y toda Rabá, los veo la próxima.
Voy a dar unos me mandan las páginas.
Isaac, hoy día tu hijo.
Preséntale al representador.